Today, we talk about...
Boom.
So you would be the person to talk to if you have like indigestion and stuff like that?
Yeah, for sure. Oh, that's right.
I love Zantac.
Yeah, we can talk about that too. I can give you some tips.
Get a lot of heartburn.
Fuck, where are we now? Welcome back. The podcast, episode 7.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So we got my buddy Jordan here.
Hey.
Who also a comedian. So we've had a bunch of comedians on today.
Have you?
Yeah.
All right.
So I had Matt Summerstein. I don't know if you know.
I don't know.
Matt. Hilarious. I had Kevin Com. I don't know if you know Kevin.
No.
So Kevin, it's not his full last name, but that's what he goes by, I think.
I'm the worst with names. I've probably seen these guys. I'm probably related to them and I don't even know their names, to be quite honest.
And Zach Benzing, who I don't think you've met yet, but he would have loved to be here, I think. You two would have gotten along really well, I think.
Why is that?
Just his personality, you know. And he's not a bodybuilder, but like he was a former football player, athlete, jock type.
Okay.
Super assholey type. I think you could put him in check, you know.
Got it.
That'd be good, yeah.
We get into a nice fist fight. We wrestle until and then we kiss each other on the lips.
Exactly.
I get it.
And so he was here earlier, and then here you are. So it's been a full day for me with this whole podcast shit.
Awesome, man.
Yeah, dude. So I appreciate you being here.
For sure. Thanks for having me.
Why don't you intro yourself however you see fit?
Sure. My name is Jordan Rosengarten, comedian, personal trainer, overall sex machine. You can, what should I say? I don't know, man.
Well, so the way I usually like to do this, and I'm still relatively new to having guests on here, let alone comedians.
Yeah.
My goal is to get more comedians on here, which luckily, like yourself, a lot of comedians have agreed to be on here, which is great. I just want to like spotlight you guys, give you guys a chance to shine, and like really highlight who you guys are as people.
Sure.
So I want to start with like when you started with comedy.
Yeah. So for me, comedy actually. Do I look at the camera?
You don't have to, but you can if you want to.
Okay, because I feel like I should. I should talk to the people.
Go for it.
I started. That's weird. I got to talk to you. I started comedy.
They'll see you. Don't worry.
Yeah. Stand-up for me was actually a couple of years ago where I started doing open mics. But the genesis,
like 2 years ago, a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm really green when it comes.
Oh wait, yeah, we talked about this at Phoenix Party.
Yeah, I'm really green when it comes to stand-up, but I was writing comedy sketches. I mean, for 10 years now. I went to NYU. I didn't finish, but I went to NYU for filmmaking.
Okay.
And I went to Tisch, and like in the process of doing film production, which I love, it was just like, okay, how do I do something that gets immediate feedback?
Sure.
Because I like attention. And that,
don't we all?
Yes. And that's comedy, you know, which is if you suck, which happens more often than not, am I right, guys? People let you know.
Right. Yeah. Definitely immediate feedback.
But you know, on the positive side, if you're good, you know, you get a laugh and all that shit. So, but like if you work on a screenplay, you write that for about a year, and you hand it to some guy, and he's like, all right, I'll read it, and he never reads it, and then by the time he reads it, you don't even care about it anymore. I hate that process.
Sure.
As a creative person, I'm too ADD for that. Like I need immediate like stimulation.
Instant gratification. Yeah.
Instant gratification, exactly. So I started getting into comedy as an art form about 2 years ago. Really started doing all the mics and shows this year.
So were you a funny guy beforehand?
So that's what I was going to get at. I mean, as a kid, I was always, the way I got out of everything was through humor.
Okay.
Like I was a fat kid and had like big meaty boobs, and like when I was in sleepaway camp, I would take my shirt off and they would start like, poking fun at me. But I was really good at self-deprecation, so I would say things funnier than the insults they were saying at me, and they would be like, "Hey, you got big tits, but you're pretty funny." So like,
I get that sense from a lot of bigger dudes. Like they tend to be funnier as a whole than tinier people.
Really?
I think so. Like a lot of the, if we can say fat, a lot of fat people I've met, I'm not saying you were fat, but a lot of bigger folks I've met were super hilarious, like funnier than anyone I had typically ever met.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's that whole thing where you're not overcompensating, but you understand that there's something that makes you feel uncomfortable.
Right. So you work on it.
Right, and I think, again, I mean, I can't speak for them, but for me, it was this thing like, all right, they're gonna really go hard on me. So at the very least, I can make it funnier.
Right.
Because they're just trying to be mean, but I can make it funny.
Right.
And if I get them to laugh, at least I get them out of their meanness.
Yeah.
And I use that as a crutch. My grandmother is somebody, she's still alive. She was somebody that, she's a lovely lady, but she's tough. And she would drive my entire
She would
family.
check you.
But she would drive my entire family crazy. And she loved to start drama. She starts war. I mean, she was like a Game of Thrones character. She would start wars and just drama, and you'd be afraid to like see her. I was the only one in my family to make her belly laugh. And forget about what she was going to say to like be critical of me.
Yeah.
And so I used comedy in my life as a safety net to really get out of things and get out of, I was dyslexic and I had a stutter when I was a kid, and ADHD, trifecta. I was really fucked. And so really like to not get teased in class because I knew I was having failing grades, and I would just use comedy. I was just like, all right.
What took you from using comedy as a crutch, if you will, to, hey, I'm going to pursue this as an art form? Like,
I mean, I grew up watching, comedians. For me, it was on Comedy Central because I'm young enough that was like, it was on television, and that's how I saw the comedians. And
right. Comedy Central presents, I presume.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I remember staying up late at night. I'd watch those, and it was very calming for me because at my, there were days where I'd come home and just be really like sad because when you're a kid in school and like you're getting teased, and it takes, you don't have like a lot of friends and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Kids are horrible.
Yeah.
And
fuck those kids.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, listen, how they look now and how I look, I got the last laugh. They're 33.
But you don't know that when you're there,
No. I recently actually saw one of these guys. He happens to be really nice now, but I saw him and he's got like receding hairline, big belly, and just looks like he wants to jump out a window. It's perfect. So.
Yes.
Yeah, listen, karma. So I would come home at night, and the first thing I would watch at night was Howard Stern on E!
Okay.
And Howard Stern was a really big influence on me. I would listen to him in the morning, but also watch the E! Show. Do you remember the E! Show?
I never watched it.
Never watched Howard Stern. So it was one of those things where my mom didn't want me to watch it, and my dad didn't want me to watch it, but my dad watched it. And he didn't want me to know that he watched it,
okay.
And I didn't want him to know that I watched it.
Dude, that was my parents with SNL and Seinfeld. Like,
okay.
They would love watching it, but they hated that I was watching it, so like they would send me to bed, but then I would crawl out of my bedroom, super sneaky, crawl behind the sofa, like to the side of the sofa. So they're watching on the sofa. This is the leg of the sofa, and I'm like here watching the TV, just like.
That's so funny, yeah. That's what it was like, though.
Yeah.
It was, I would have to block my door and make it really low because Howard Stern, even though it was the E! Channel, and they would blur out all the nudity and stuff.
Yeah, sure.
He was out there, and at that time, what I loved about him is here's this interviewer, this guy, who has celebrities on his show, and instead of asking them about their movie, he's asking them about their biggest bowel movement.
Right.
And again, for me as a kid, that's just hilarious. And this is a guy that, again, he wasn't fat, but he's tall. He looks kind of weird. He's not, but everyone like bows down to him and respects him because he's the head of that show. And
but that's not the only reason. It's because of what you just said. He asks about the bowel movements and not like the phony shit, and he approaches you in such a respectful way, I think, that you are genuine enough to open up to him. So,
well, he also, right, and I think I kind of learned a little bit from him, but maybe I just noticed the correlation, which that he kind of did the trick I did, which is if you talk a certain way to people, you can get a lot of information out of them. You get them to laugh, and he was a master at that. He can transition from like, yeah, so when you were filming anyway, so who are you screwing? It's like what? But he would make them laugh, and they were having a good time. At least from the look of it, 90% of the guests never looked like they were uncomfortable. They were enjoying.
But that's the key, right? You got to be fucking comfortable to open up and say things and be like, "Oh my god, this is a great interview."
They looked like they were having the time of their life because they weren't on a late night show where they had to be like, "Oh, like, hey, we're working on this."
So, what is this rehearsed thing I'm getting you to say next? It's like
exactly. So for me, that was a big influence. Was Howard Stern, and then the Comedy Central Presents, and I would watch.
Do you have a favorite?
I remember seeing as a kid,
because we're relatively in the same age group, so like I'm curious if you had the same favorites I did.
I'm kind of embarrassed to say this, but at the time, well, it's too. Well, listen, David Tell. I'm not embarrassed to say this.
Yes.
That's not what I'm embarrassed to say. The next one is, but David Tell, big influence on me. and I loved his dry kind of like deadpan. I mean, do you remember the Insomniac?
Yeah.
With David Tell. That was great. David Tell, and then there was a show called Colin Quinn with. It was called Tough Crowd.
Tough Crowd, yeah. With Patrice O'Neal and all
yes,
that. Yeah.
and that was the first time I said I want to be a comic in my head.
Okay.
Even though it was years later.
Got it.
Years before, excuse me. No. So, but if you remember that? You remember it was David Tell, not David Tell. Excuse me. It was
Colin Quinn, Patrice.
Yeah, and it was.
Who's the guy that overdosed? Fucking.
Greg Giraldo.
Greg Giraldo.
So all those guys, and they were, listen. A lot of them had very different political and religious and whatever points of views on any given issue. But what I loved about the show was that it didn't take itself too seriously, even though there were heated debates in the show. But like you can never.
Oh yeah, they always left.
It was right. First and foremost, they're comedians, and I love that. It was this. It made me feel like okay. Everything else in my life, my opinions are secondary to being funny.
Yeah.
And I kind of lived by that for a while because that's what that show kind of taught me. I was like, oh, okay, it's really just about the humor, and everything else is so that's kind of like where my biggest influences. I wasn't really big on Seinfeld until I got older.
Okay.
And then I became more of a fan of his stand-up than his show.
Really?
Yes, because what's funny about Seinfeld is that he is brilliant.
He is brilliant
At breaking down the smallest thing and making it funny without being political or offensive. And not that I give a shit about being offensive or political. That's how I'm very political and offensive myself. But I respect that he can appeal to such a wide audience.
Yeah, navigate it without.
But still be hilarious.
Yeah.
It was great.
It is quite a fucking skill set. Like it's impressive to do. That's one of the first things I noticed about open mic comedy because before I started I didn't even start going to an open mic comedy. First time I stepped foot in a comedy club was for an open mic in Iowa in October. Or I'm sorry, in September of this past year. So not even that long ago. And up until then, my only exposure to comedy was Netflix specials, Comedy Central Presents, blah, blah, all these fucking pros, right? So all of a sudden I'm exposed to these open micers where I'm like, holy shit, these guys aren't like that good.
Right.
And they're doing similar like content.
Yes.
But I can recognize, holy shit, I saw someone do this way better.
Right.
And they're exploring subject matter that is like not offending me because I know not to be offended by anything.
Yeah.
But I can understand why people are being offended at this because it's simply not funny.
That's
like,
it.
it's just like,
and I have a theory, and it's kind of like piggybacking on what you just said, which is that most people who get offended, well, listen, I think people who get offended at comedy shows are assholes, but most people who don't get the joke, it's back to the comic. Like
it's back on the comic, exactly. Don't blame the audience for being offended at you. It's your fault. You didn't bring them along for the ride.
You didn't give the right offensive to funny ratio. Right. I mean, it really is a ratio. Like it's at some point, I have no like you can talk about anything, but your goal first and foremost is to make it funny.
Yeah.
If you don't have an angle on it. Like, I never go into a joke thinking, who am I going to offend? I think, how am I going to make this funny?
See, I think that gets lost on a lot of regular folk because they come at you like, hey, he said something that's super offensive / hurtful / whatever. It's like, you realize we as people, as comedians, are like begging for your adoration.
Right.
So like, why the fuck would our intention be to piss you off? Like that is never.
There's nothing worse than someone at a comedy show with their arms folded. Like, it's just come. Can you just enjoy yourself?
Right. But I understand like certain people just don't belong in comedy clubs. They just like what we were talking about off the air was exposure to testosterone supplements. So for those that don't know, you are should I call you a bodybuilder or should I call you?
I am a bodybuilder. I'm going to be in a competition next year, so I'm not there yet. So if you're wondering why I'm not 300 pounds, it's a work in progress.
But more generically, you are a fitness trainer.
I'm a personal trainer.
So if you are looking for personal training in the New York City area, this is your guy. Let me tell you.
But like I was telling you, do not call me. do not. First of all, don't call me ever. But
His
don't,
number will be in the description.
right.
Yeah.
but don't contact me if you're not willing to do the things I'm going to have you do.
Right,
Because people come to me all the time and they're like, I have a goal. I'm like, that's great. Let's see your goals. Lose some body fat, build some muscle, whatever it is. And week 2, they're just like, oh man, this is hard. And I'm like, no shit. It's
Supposed to give me the shortcut.
yeah. There are no shortcuts.
Right.
Like it doesn't exist. But what you do gain in the long run is worth it. It's so worth it.
Right.
I mean, listen, I'm a big believer in starting things and finishing and doing it the right way. You know, I think there's more than just the result. It's that feeling of like I finished it. You know, big believer in that. Because I'm a naturally lazy person, so when I push myself to actually do something, it's like holy shit, I feel it. You know, I'm like if I did it, I'm not the smartest person by any means, and I'm not the
Right.
strongest person. I'm not the most disciplined person, but if I can do it, anyone can fucking do it.
Right.
Really, just
See, but I think you're cut from a different cloth when you think that, because lucky for you, you have that little piece in you, which I don't think, unfortunately, most people have. Like for most people, it's like, wait, what am I missing? And they don't see that hard work is like kind of necessary. It's like kind of a thing that needs to be done to reach certain feats. You know, you can't just climb Mount Everest with a fucking airplane. Like you can't just.
right.
You know.
Well, listen. For instance, I was talking to one of my friends. He's an actor, and I'm like, dude, I think I want to get into acting. And he's like, pfft. And he had the right to say that to me because he's spent years cultivating like this talent he has into something, and I'm just here like, yeah, I want to just dabble in this. And he had the right response, which was, pfft. It's like,
I would debate that, but continue.
well, let me finish my
go ahead.
let me finish my point of view. And I can see it both ways, but my point is that it takes a lot of time to craft that. I would imagine to craft that kind of skill to kind of hone that. Like I don't know.
Sure.
Like, I've never been an actor, so I don't know the things that are
Right.
involved. I have weird things where I can't make eye contact with people, so like I couldn't imagine like, on camera. I'd just be like,
Oh, that's why you want to look at the camera, not me.
I don't know where to look. I have no presence in terms of framing. Like I don't. But these are things you learn,
Right.
You don't just walk up on stage and know how to perform, and you learn that. It's a process, and it takes time, and you can work with voice. People who really care about it and who are really serious about it take the time to invest in that. So when someone just says, "I want to do this. I want to do it right now," well, it's like, good for you. You just woke up. It's like,
Those are two different statements, though.
Maybe, right,
I want to
yeah.
do this, and I want to do this right now. Those are very different statements.
Okay.
If you were to say, I want to do this right now, I think your friend is justified to be like, "Pfft."
Okay.
But if you were to be like, I want to do this, I don't think the right response from a seasoned actor should be, "Pfft." I think it should be, hey, either A, I'm so good at this because I've been doing this so long, so yeah, please give this a shot.
Well, most actors are C-notes, you know that. That's really why he went, you want to be an actor.
Exactly. But yeah, more importantly, like, I think if you're good at something, A, you shouldn't be, what's the right word? Not challenged. You shouldn't be threatened by someone that wants to enter your field.
Right.
Because if they're really not cut out for it, they will find out soon enough. And if it's really as hard as you think it is because you've been doing it for so long, you'd be like, all right, he'll figure it out on his own. Or he or she.
Right.
Now, the other piece of it too is I think certain people in creative endeavors where it's not like, hey, fill out the multiple choice in the right format and you move on to the next stage in life. No, in the creative arts, music, entertainment, anything entertainment, acting, comedy, whatever, there are going to be certain people that within 1 year will get way farther than you ever could in 30 years.
Right.
And just because you fucking put in 30 years doesn't fucking mean you're entitled to be funny. Like, someone may just have it.
Right.
You know?
There are, well, it's funny, I should tell a story. I'll tell without dropping names, but
Sure.
I was speaking to someone recently who has been doing comedy for about 20 plus years, maybe 25 years. And, they kind of had this attitude where it was like, you just you start this thing and you think you're gonna it was basically, I'm not gonna even say he or she, the person was like, had a lot of opinions on my comedy. Let's just say
Your comedy.
And keeping in mind, I am very green, but
2 years versus decades.
but I will say this: I am way funnier than this fucking person. I have no issue saying that.
This is objective.
And then but I was really annoyed what this person had said to me, and I'm like, you're like ripping it apart. Like, I'm just like, wait a minute. This is the anger of and listen, I'm not the person who doesn't take feedback well. Like, I take feedback well all the time. I've had, I would say more often than not, shitty performances, and I'm like, okay, you know, my stutter is going too crazy. I'm mumbling too much. My pacing is not right.
But you hear that because you want to get better. Like,
exactly. Yeah. I'm fine with that. But what I was hearing there was, I've been doing this for 25 years. And you're already better than me. Right. Or I've been doing this for 25 years and I'm not anywhere. And it's like, you don't get something.
It's like a projection. It's like, yeah.
Well, I'm like, I would never do this for 25 years. I'm going to do it for 3. If I'm not famous in 3, then I'm
not meant for this, and I'm moving on.
Yeah, I'm going to go work at Starbucks.
Which requires a certain mentality as well. It's like, hey, I'm going to give this a fair shot, but I'm not going to be delusional about it. I'm going to.
What person is going to fail at something for 25 years and then, like that makes you better? Like, no, that makes you dumber. Like, I've only been failing at it for 2 years. You've been failing for 25. Like, I'll take 2. Like, that's and I would say barely 2. I would say about 1, really, for being fair. So yeah, I think like, I get that bitterness of like the older kind of, I've been doing this for a while.
Oh, I get why they're bitter. Yeah.
Right. And just because you put in the time doesn't mean...
Doesn't entitle you to shit. It's
right. It doesn't. When it comes to comedy and entertainment, there are definitely factors. People are more talented. There are people who are less talented and become famous. How about that? What about?
Oh yeah, exactly.
What about the people who are really talented and they never get the call, but someone who's like monotone and they just have a certain look to them?
Or they met the right person, fucked the right person, whatever.
Think about actors who you can think of on the top of your head right now. Think about actors who you can visualize on the top of your head who have mediocre at best acting chops but are famous. Something happened there. And again, I've been to, you know, I know this is going to make me sound like a pansy, but I've been to off-Broadway, all right? I go to Broadway. All right, I'm cultured.
Yeah, I've been trying to go to a Broadway show. I mean, it's right there.
You literally just jump out. But there are performers, and I'm friends with a lot of them in New York City, who are more talented than any actor I've seen in Hollywood.
Oh, for sure. Oh, yeah, Broadway is a very talent-driven specialty, for sure. I will respect that.
But these motherfuckers are not getting the call.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean shit. So sometimes in life, we do have to understand that, yes, it's not about fair. Sometimes a little bit of luck and connections. And talent, So it's really the trifecta, and I try to live my life not being bitter. I like to figure out how to make things work for me, and that's another thing. Like I try very, very infrequently, and sometimes I do, but I try to not focus on other people. I try not to.
That's good.
I joke about it a lot, like compare, like, oh, I'm 33, and that's like a joking kind of thing. But I'm actually very happy with where I am in life. Because I would never be where I am in life had I not gone through the experiences.
Right.
I could never have had another life. I could never have done other things. Like, oh, if you would have done this or that, that doesn't work. That doesn't, I wouldn't have been me. I would have been somebody else.
It's not productive.
It's not productive, nor is it true, because you wouldn't be you, really.
Right.
You are I'm sure there's things I regret, but I'm talking about more the experience in life.
The summation of everything you've been through.
It's even till this very day, everything you're doing is helping you grow and to be the person you're going to be, whatever that is. And you have to take every single lesson that comes in front of you.
Right.
And it may come in weird ways, and it may come in uneven ways, and there might be trauma in your life, and really good things the next day, and it might be a clusterfuck of weirdness. You take it and you use that to kind of strengthen yourself. I believe in that. I mean, it all goes back to the gym, actually, because when you're in the gym, you're going through hell when you're training. When you're breaking down muscle tissue, that's not what your body's going to look like. But you're getting your body primed so that when it regrows the muscle, it's getting stronger, it's bigger.
That's something I appreciated about, I forget who it was that mentioned it to me, someone famous or not, I can't remember, but someone that goes through the gym to like get fit, that shows a certain element to your personality, like, yo, I put in this work. This is not something I faked. I didn't do the injections because you could tell.
Right.
I put in this work, and this is the results I got, and now you can see it, and there was no faking this. Like, there is something to that that's very valuable. It's very validating.
For sure, yeah. I mean, when you put that time in, and also you have to enjoy it. Like, I think there are some people that just don't enjoy the gym.
Like me.
Right now. But what I try to do for my clients is like, it's hard. It's hard to make someone, understand how much fun it could be.
Right.
But to make it a part of your day, like really, is like wow. But again, I think when you start to get into a routine, though, you feel weird not doing it. Like
I disagree. So what I was saying before we got rudely interrupted by technology.
Technical difficulties, yes. We actually had a whole conversation you'll never hear.
Which I'm totally cool with.
Yeah. That's for the special features when you buy the DVD.
No one will ever get it.
Exactly.
But no, we were talking about, you were saying how like it's important to have a routine, and being in a routine with working out will get you into the zone and the promised land. And I was saying I vehemently disagreed, because I've been working out. Granted, not consistent for a while, but like I've done consistent working out for a long enough where it's like, this should start feeling good, shouldn't it? And then it doesn't. I'm just like, this is still a chore for me.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I would argue though that when you're doing it yourself, you're gonna the way your brain works is that it's gonna start. It's kind of like this: when you work out, you probably listen to the same fucking playlist over and over.
Yeah.
It's like you get tired of it, but when you have somebody switching up the exercises,
yeah, that's fair.
Like that's half of what I do. Is like if I'm doing the same thing with clients over and over, they're gonna fire me. Like part of it is mentally stimulating you. So, look, is there a difference between using resistance bands one day and no? You're working the same muscle, but in your brain, you're not bored of it, so you're going to be exerting yourself even harder. Yeah. Again, when I work out with a partner, a buddy. Why? I know how to work out, and he knows how to work out. We're motivating each other because we both know that we're going to psych each other out. We both know that we're going to psych ourselves out when we're at the gym, because look, when you're breaking down muscle tissue, your nervous system is going haywire.
Yeah.
It's basically saying, well, why the fuck are you doing this? Well, you know why you're doing this, because you're building muscle. But it's not like your body knows like you're breaking muscle tissue. It sends the fight or flight response out, especially when you're lifting really heavy. So you're going to panic a little bit. You're going to be like, get the fuck out of here. You need someone to be like, let's go, another one. That's how you really get through a workout. So that's the answer.
Got it.
But yeah, but yeah. No, listen. I think like
I fucked up.
No. It's again.
Do you meet a lot of people like myself who are just like, dude, I just want to get fit, and I know this sucks, but I know I have to be here, so fucking just do what you gotta do. Like, do you get people like that?
Yeah, of course. I mean, listen. Not everyone's gonna be as passionate as I am about it. I mean, they're hiring me because they're not.
I figured,
and that's totally fine. My goal is to be passionate. They're hiring me to be passionate.
Right.
For them, take it or leave it. I just want them to do what I tell them to do, because at the end of the day, they need to get to where they want to. Like,
right.
The worst thing for me is when someone comes to me and they're saying, "What should I look like?" I'm like, I don't fucking know. Or do I look good? It's the most loaded question, because
you find me attractive.
Right. Well, my answer usually is yes. I think you do. I said, but do you think you do? That's the most important thing. Like, I think you look fine. What do you want to look like? And by the way, looking attractive is not what you're looking after. You're looking to look different.
Right.
Which is, it sounds like I'm playing semantics, but I'm really not, because
I think sometimes people need to hear the semantics though. Sometimes,
but sometimes I'm not even. There are some. I work with men and women, some handsome dudes and some pretty women that they have very beautiful faces, and they're attractive people. They just are attractive people.
Right.
The little bit of body fat they're going to lose is not going to make them more or less attractive, but to them it means a lot. And I think once they give me that goal and they say, I want to look like X, then I'm getting them to that goal. Do I think that looks better? It looks better for their goals.
Right.
But I'm not dating them. I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
like,
right.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
so if someone shows up without goals, which I'm sure is frustrating as fuck, but if they show up without goals, can you talk them into giving you their goals?
It's very rare, because usually when people hire me, they want something. Like, I sometimes they say, it's very common, and a lot of personal trainers will tell you this, is you go to a consultation, like, I just want to tone. Okay. So what they're basically saying is what? And then I usually ask them, like, so what do you mean by that?
It's like, oh, I heard that word on TV.
Right. What they're basically saying is they want to lose some body fat and build a little muscle. That's what they want. And then my favorite thing is when I get usually a girl, and they're like, look, whatever you do, I don't want to get those big bodybuilder like arms. And my thing is, like, if it was that fucking easy to do, like, everyone would do it. Like, every guy would be jacked. Like,
right.
Don't worry about it. We're good. It's not that easy for you to get big arms. But I hear what they're saying. You know, they obviously what's funny, like that's actually half true. Women actually respond a little bit more to stuff like that because the little bit of testosterone they do have goes a long way.
Got it.
So you do have to be mindful of that because they can get bulky if you train them the wrong way, and also don't focus on their body fat percentage and stuff like that. So yeah, but I hear that a lot. It's like, oh, I don't want to get bulky. I don't look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's like, I do, and I can look like him. So what the fuck? You know, like, how are you going to look like
Actually,
him?
that's a great first response. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, dude, what do you think I've been trying to do for the past 8
Right,
years?
yeah. So you think you're just going to do this accidentally, and I've actually been trying to do this?
Yeah, how funny would it be if they actually became like bigger than you? Like,
That'd be great.
I fucking told you, this is not what I wanted.
Right. It's not what I wanted. I'm Mr. Olympia now. That's great.
God damn it, dude.
Just looking all jacked.
Yeah, feel free to use that as a bit because I'm not a bodybuilder. I don't think it fits
I'm
my
going to use it
needs.
as a bit. I'm going to write it down right now.
Oh, actually, that's a perfect segue, I think, to something that we talked about, but we didn't capture.
Yes, it wasn't. We didn't get it on celluloid.
Which I thought was celluloid, on 35 millimeter. Something perfect we talked about, which I would definitely love to revisit. You were mentioning how you love Broadway. Because we were gazing down on this lovely Broadway scene.
Yes.
But you mentioned how you have a friend who's an actor
Yep.
who's been doing this for eons, and you mentioned that you wanted to be an actor, and he just scoffed at you.
Yeah. So yeah, I had a friend, and I said like, you know, yeah, I didn't want to get into acting. And he was like,
Right.
you know, which kind of like made me upset. But
I'm upset for you. I think that's the worst response ever.
Well, so just to like, you know, parrot the conversation we had before, like when I said that, you were basically like, that's kind of shitty, but I kind of get it from a point of view because
Yeah, there's both sides. Yeah.
because and I think what I failed to mention was like I kind of want to do this like right now.
So you
Right.
got that sense from your
Right. So and it's kind of like someone
I
saying,
want to get into Broadway. No.
well, it's kind of someone saying,
I'd be perfect for the line.
yeah, it's like someone saying I want to be Mr. Olympia tomorrow. It's like that's how much time you gave me.
Yeah.
You know, so in his mind was like, I've been doing this for years, dude. You think you're just going to do this like overnight? And I understand that. I'm not
Just kind of like your example with the women who I don't want to be Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Right,
It's like, dude,
right.
It's not going to happen.
and that's when it kind of like dawned on me. It's like, okay, it's serious. You know, it's not. You know, listen, I actually think that acting is very serious. I think that.
Oh, I agree with you, by the way.
But that's not maybe what I really want. I just want to be famous.
No, that's fair.
And you don't have to be talented to be famous.
Right.
I mean, I'm half kidding. It's funny. I'm actually a relative in my personal life, a relatively shy guy. So like, I probably fucking hate fame. Like people who are like, oh please, give me. Like I would go out of my fucking mind.
Actually, that's an interesting thing to explore. I'd love to explore that more, but just to revisit what I said before was, I think something that shouldn't be lost on certain people, which I think gets lost often, is I hate meeting those people that, whether it's comedy, acting, any creative art, you're not owed anything. It's not that you've been doing this a number of years and you automatically become good at it. Like there are people that maybe want to be good at it. I hear a snap. Someone wants to be good at something in the creative world, and they just entered it now, but they may have way more of a prodigy brain or a talent for something than you ever will.
Right.
And they're gonna fucking blow by you. Maybe not tomorrow, but maybe by next year. Even though you've been doing this for 30 decades. Like, and you have to be willing to accept that, I think. And sometimes for some people that's hard. Like some people are simply gonna be funnier than you today.
I have no animosity for other people that succeed. I actually am happy for them. Like, it's so funny. Like, you know, I joke about it. Of course, I'm like, oh, motherfucker, you did it. But like, it's kidding. Like, in my heart, like, I'm like, listen, this person was talented.
You probably joke about it to drive yourself to do better.
Of course, because listen, do I want myself to do better? Yeah, but I never compare myself. Like, because I'm a big believer that everyone's on their own journey. Like, there's no comparison. I'm not like you in any way. Like, you know, we have similarities, but we're not the same person. So our journeys in life are going to be different, and our journeys in comedy.
Compare our bicep sizes, guys.
Clearly, we're different. We're just genetically. No, but seriously, I think like there are dudes in comedy that are constantly comparing their success, and it's like, why the fuck are you focused on this guy? Like, oh, if this guy's not funny and he steals jokes and he's on. It's like, listen, if he steals jokes, he's gonna get caught and fuck him anyway. So don't even focus on him.
You gotta think of the long game.
Yeah, listen. I hate joke thieves. I hear joke thieves at fucking open mics. I'm like, dude, seriously, like that was Chris Rock's bit, and you're white. You can't do
Michael Scott, get out of here.
Right, exactly. But again, what do I get out of like telling that to the person? Like
Right.
they either know it or they don't.
Because I think it's definitely a mentality thing. If you have the right mentality, you'll be like, you know what? I'm good enough to be here.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not there yet, and maybe I'm not willing to take certain shortcuts. But if this person that fucking sucks is doing this well, can you only imagine when I figured it out?
Yeah. Listen, fame is not a hard thing to understand. It really is having a certain look and having a connection. Being, it's like that's not hard. But for me, I don't care as much about that as being good.
Right.
So, like, I actually want to make people laugh on stage. I think that's a really cool skill.
You want a genuine connection with people. Like, that's the true fame, I think.
What's funny is that I actually, as a kid, I always kind of thought, like, I'm probably going to be famous when I'm older. Which is a very arrogant, kind of shitty thing to think. But I just had this feeling that, like, that was going to happen. And I was kind of upset by that because I was like, oh, yeah, but what am I going to do? And, like, that was, like, a big...
Oh, so you had the thought to be famous, but you didn't even know how to get there.
Right. And I was like, and for me, it was like, it was a very depressing feeling because it was like, I don't want people to know me and then be like, oh, wait, what am I famous for? Like,
as an insecurity, you mean?
Yeah, because I would rather be famous, I'd rather be known amongst a few select people and be fucking hilarious or really talented. To be famous, if people are like, "Yo, this guy's fucking mediocre as shit," but everyone knows you. Look at the fucking Kardashians. Like everyone knows them. They're not talented.
Yeah.
No one talks about them with any kind of respect.
Well, I would debate that a little bit, but actually, we're getting off on two different forks. So let me focus.
I'm sorry. By the way, if you guys are listening, I love you. You are very talented.
Yeah, I'm gonna help this out quite a bit, but I just want to split up the fork. So
you're not related to them, are you?
Fuck, dude, I'm not Armenian.
That was like the most racist assumption I've ever made. Oh, you people, you come from that side of the world. It sounds weird.
We're neighbors. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But no, it's interesting. So we have these two forks in the road. One is fame, and one is the Kardashians. I actually want to split that up into its own topic. So, because again, don't forget, I got to edit this. So I'm like I'm already thinking.
You're editing this?
I'm already thinking of post production. No, so the whole thing will go out.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be putting out segments. With topics.
Okay.
So there'll be a weightlifting or a fitness topic. There'll be a fame as an ode to you topic. There'll be all these different topics.
Yeah, just don't put out the part where forget it. I was going to make a joke. This is what happens in comedy. You talk and then you mumble, and no funny comes out.
That's fine.
Come to my shows and you'll see the lack of comedy, the complete.
Come to the show, laugh at the jokes, and he may give you a free training session.
Yeah. I don't know. That's very kind. I think come to my show and feel a lot better about yourself. That's basically my advice is come to my show, look at me, and be like, I'm glad I'm not that. Because honestly, underneath all this, like this is just like protein shakes and mental illness. Like this is a facade. Like I look like I'm doing well. I'm in pain right now. Like there is nothing in here. Anyway.
Don't be like Jordan.
Yes. You don't want this. Like this is seriously. Like,
oh man.
Yeah.
This is too good. All right. I see flashing, so I'm gonna cut it off and restart it at the next segment because we got two juicy things I want to finish talking about. And boom, you're running. Okay. All right. So to make sure we revisit this and explore it fully, from my perspective, you can comment on it. You mentioned the whole fame thing. You grew up wanting to be famous, but you also want to be respected. You don't want just empty fame. I'm totally on board with that. And my opinion has always been this: I want to be famous, but knowing myself and knowing my ethics, it's like I know I don't want to be famous for the empty reasons. I know I don't want empty fame. Like, hey, look at I don't want to buy subscribers and Instagram followers. Right. Look at the numbers. I've got 1 million followers. It's like, does the number really mean anything? Do you really, are you really after the number? No, you're after the genuine connection with people. Are people truly drawn to you, your message, and what you contribute to society? So the way I see this, okay, my goal is to be famous, but my understanding is for me to become famous, I would have to contribute a certain thing to society to get there.
Yeah, something of value. I mean, listen, for me, it's I want to entertain people. So like, if you're not entertained, or if you're not laughing, or then what the fuck am I doing? Then I might as well not be famous.
Right.
You know, like I do think like, listen, say what you want about like Hollywood actors, like oh look they're douchey or this, and they are, but they have earned that level of fame. They do an amazing fucking thing,
Yeah.
which is act on screen and they're in movies and so like yes, like but like. The most important part of that is that they give you entertainment.
Right.
You go to the movies and you enjoy watching them.
Yeah.
So that when you look at them, you're like, that is the guy who was in that movie that entertained me. So as stupid as it might sound, they've given value.
Right. Because a lot of people would argue, I remember back in high school, people would listen, for those of you that are going to become doctors, I feel bad that, baseball players get paid more than you. I think you guys save lives, you guys should get paid more.
Right.
And at the time, I was thinking, yeah, I want to be a doctor, and fuck baseball players for getting paid more than me.
Right.
But then I get older, and I'm just like, dude, there's a bajillion doctors.
Right.
There's one Derek Jeter.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? And Derek Jeter has offered so much more to so many more people
Right.
than I as an individual. Maybe doctors as a whole are way more important, right? But me as an individual, compared to Derek Jeter as an individual, I can't hold a candle to how much impact he's had on humanity compared to the impact I've had.
Right.
Or will ever have.
One of my clients works in hospice, right? And that's not a fun place to be. I mean, you're literally watching people die. And, he's had celebrities come in to basically pay visits to people. And you watch these people's faces light up. And you're like, this guy who can potentially, this guy being my client, who can potentially save this person's life, but basically couldn't.
Right.
Doesn't hold a candle to this guy who's not going to save his life, but is going to bring a smile to his face.
Yeah.
And that's when you see where the difference is.
Yeah.
Because, listen, I hate to break to you guys, we're all going to die. People like him can only increase the amount of days that you have.
Oh, dude, I could go off in a 30 tangents about this, but we won't.
Right. But in terms of quality of life, like how you enjoy your time while you're here, like that to me is the most important thing.
I didn't appreciate this until very recently. Because again, I grew up in a math science background, went to medical school, blah, 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 blah. So once I started entering the creative worlds with YouTube and everything else, it only then opened my mind like, holy shit, man, this whole realm of like entertaining people is not just a silly endeavor. It's like people need to be entertained. Like entertainment is a life value you need to add to people's lives, especially as humanity as a creature becomes more and more secure in terms of not worrying about lions chasing them and dying of starvation, which unfortunately still people suffer from that. But at least in this country, right, there's so many people that are doing, quote, so well compared to how the mass majority of human beings were doing in the Middle Ages or beyond, where it's like, now we are so comfortable, we need to be entertained to occupy our minds, or else we're literally going to go fucking nuts.
Yeah.
So people who offer that entertainment value need to be respected and revered in some respects. Like, yo, you legit offer a service.
But I think even one step further, I think people who bring laughter, like laughter is.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Because
we're on the same page on that.
Yeah, I mean, but like, and I've seen, like, I had said earlier with my grandmother, she was a very hard egg to crack, but like when I got her to laugh, I was like, yes, I did it.
That was probably the best feeling you've ever had.
By the way, that was like, that was like killing. That was for me, like, I've killed on stage once. That didn't hold a candle to me making my grandmother laugh. But that's what it is, because you're like...
Impact.
It's impact, right? And you know that, like, listen, she's probably difficult for her own personal reasons. She probably likes to do, like, create all this drama because she's insecure. Whatever demons are in her brain, for that 1 second, she can let out and just belly laugh. It feels good to make someone do that, And I think, like, that's why I love comedy, because you're sitting in my audience. I don't give a fuck what you're political. I don't care about that. What I care is that you're there. You maybe had a bad day. You maybe had a good day. Maybe you're on a date. Whatever it is, but you're coming here and you're watching and you're just being silly.
Right.
There's nothing serious happening on stage. Like, that's why I hate comics who try to like stand up on this pedestal like we're giving a political speech. It's like,
send a message. Yeah.
We're not a TED Talk. Like, we're here to make jokes.
Well, there is a role for that, I think, but it shouldn't supersede the comedy. Yeah.
Right. Listen, I think political satire is amazing, and like you said, it's an art form in itself. I do think that for my taste, it gets a little bit like.
If it's not funny, I'm not respecting.
And I came here to like escape it. It's funny. Like in this, you go for hours in this, but with this age of Trump, it's like I'm getting sick of it already. Like I don't want to hear about it because I came to this club.
It's not funny enough.
No, but it's kind of like, first of all, I came to this comedy club to not think about that.
Right.
I came to this comedy club to think about why things are funny.
Right.
Now listen, I've heard funny Trump jokes. I'm not gonna lie. It's just it's been done. Let's move on.
Yeah.
And it goes back to what we said about like Seinfeld earlier on. Go for comics, and I try to do this myself. It's like go back to the basics. Like what in your daily life is just ridiculous. Like that has nothing to do with politics.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with like anything polarizing. Like you can find them. Like they're there. And listen, I can give a fuck about offending people. It's not about that. But for me, I can say F the people all I want and fuck the people and like, oh, I'm gonna offend them but that's not how you get people to laugh at you.
Yeah.
You get a lot of shocking, like, ooh, ah. Now, I've said things at a comedy club, I've said in my bits that have offended people. But honestly, when I'm sitting down to write, all I'm thinking about is this funny?
Yeah.
And I'm wrong sometimes, most times. but
it's important you recognize that because are you a Mark Norman fan?
Yeah, I love Mark Norman. Yeah.
So he said something that really struck me because I'd always thought it, but I'd never heard another like actual good comedian say this.
Yeah.
He was commenting on one of these talk shows about how, speaking of fame, he's kind of getting famous.
Yeah, I heard he's getting up there. Yeah. He's on a show called Late Night.
But I loved what he said about like, dude, I hate going to these shows or open mics where comedians are treating these open mics as like cathartic therapy sessions. Like, dude, this is not for you.
Right.
Your goal is to make others laugh.
Yes.
This is why you need to be here.
Right.
And I'm not here to knock on people that are like trying to use it as a cathartic experience or who need therapy or whatever.
Open mics.
Yeah. And honestly, I was at Jimmy Peoples today, and there was this dude who legit just teed it up. He's like, guys, I've had the rough fucking patch.
Be great if you just blew his brains out at the end.
Yeah. And
He's just like, hang on a second. Just hangs there. That'd be the great ending to the like, we just see a guy just flowing back and forth.
Luckily, it wasn't that bad. But like he teed it up like, guys, this is gonna get dark. This is my trials and tribulations, but this is what I'm going to be talking about for the next 5 minutes set.
Yeah.
And we all got behind him, which I was super proud of for the whole crew that was there, like just supporting this kid, like getting behind, like just having this cathartic experience. So it's not like I'm against it.
Yeah.
But luckily, he made it funny. He made it entertaining. We all connected. There was different parts of it where he mentioned different lines where some laughed and some didn't, and some laughed and some didn't. And then there was this one part which I won't spoil because I hope this guy makes it. Yeah. And he delivered that line in the middle of it or towards the end, and we all just died laughing.
Oh, that's great.
It was amazing.
That's
right?
great.
But at the end of the day, I just thought of that to say, like, I hate the people that just treat it like, hey guys, I'm having a bad day,
right,
and I just want to talk. Like, dude, you're here to fucking entertain us. We've been doing this for 8 hours today.
Yeah.
And we all suck. We're all trying to get better.
Right.
Like, can you just try to entertain us?
Right,
like,
right.
Please.
Show some sort of craft. Like, look, listen, like, I have no problem with people who are trying out new material, but at least you're trying something.
Right.
And there are things I've literally wrote a minute before I go on stage, but at least I've thought to work it out.
Right.
You know, my intention here is to make it work to get a laugh.
Because you want that fame, like we talked about, and you want to become famous so that you can deliver this thing that's going to bring people joy, entertainment, comedy, laughter, etc. That grandmother feeling. That's what you're after. You're not after, hey, I want to feel better. You know.
Now, listen, I think anyone who knows who knows anything about therapy, I've been in therapy, is that fame or even being admired doesn't change who you are, or nor does it change anything in here. So I am under no delusion that it's going to make me, listen, even being on stage, right? It's a momentary high, but when I get off, I'm back to being me.
Yeah.
And the same thing with everything else, like my daily life. So at the end of the day, we all have to battle our inner demons.
Right.
And that is something where luckily I've been later in life, like the past year or so, I've been in therapy. Like, it's so helpful because you get to have someone who's very he's not someone who has some sort of an agenda. Yeah, he's just there telling you like, all right, this is kind of what you do. You know?
It's like, hey, matter of fact.
Right.
You're
Yeah.
a piece of shit.
Yeah, exactly right.
Kidding,
It's like there's the window. But like you can honestly start thinking like, okay, now I can make myself better as a person.
Right.
Because listen, fame comes and goes. For me, I don't even give a shit if it's for a second. I just want to know that I've made a difference. And if the difference is making people laugh at stupid shit, then that's great. You know, I don't care what it is. Like for me, I just don't. People are like, oh, what's the matter with being ordinary? It's nothing. Nothing's the matter with it. I don't want it because I have never accomplished. I can't be ordinary because I'll either be nothing or I'll be something extraordinary. Like, and that sounds really douchey, I know, but like.
No, I disagree, man. I'm the same way, and I relate it back to the hypothetical of: would you rather be that crazy dude who does something incredible, even though it gets him arrested or killed, and he gets that 5 minutes or like 15 years of incredibleness and then just disappears? Or would you rather have that ordinary life for 80 years? Like, I will take that 15.
I mean, people say that fame doesn't get you anything. We literally have a president that became the president because he was on a show where he looked like he knew how to run a business. And like, you know, love him or hate him, like that's really what it was. People saw him on the show.
Right.
So like, fame gets you places, and I'm happy he did it because it showed that like that thing works.
Dude, honestly, I had a bit about this that I'm still trying to bring onto the stage, but it's about how people have to point out Obama and they're like, yo, Obama, change, hope, he like inspired the future.
Right.
But like I would argue Trump inspired the future because like, yo, this fucking asshole can do it, yo, we can all do it. Like,
you ever hear Bill Burr talk about like right after the election? He was on what's his name, Conan.
Okay.
And he's like, come on, isn't this great? And like Conan's like, what? He's like, come on. Trump was like the biggest shit talker. He's like,
oh, I remember this.
He's just like, you know, he's like, come on, you got to admit that, you know, that Hillary, she just blew it. She blew it. This guy's just like fumbling over like, you know, tables. It was such a brilliant point, but it was true. It's like. It should. If you don't like the guy and you think he's an idiot, then it should embarrass you more that he won. and I think, listen, I'm not gonna get political, but because I have a million opinions on it. But I think,
dude, you gotta meet my boy Zach, man. He's like he's a hardcore Trump supporter, and he's not. Yeah, I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying he's unabashed, just like hardcore about it. So it'd be funny for him to hear you say this and for you guys to go back and forth.
Probably, It'd probably be an interesting debate, but I just think that there's like. I just look at it more like from a point of view of like, let me just see
the big picture.
Yeah, listen, I'm not an extremist on any look. I don't think he's the worst thing in the world. I think it's actually like if you don't like the fucking guy, then he'll be out.
I thought it was refreshing because I think the whole shit is bullshit. So it's just like, hey, finally, we get some fresh air in here.
From a purely anarchist point of view,
to me, it's not even an anarchist thing. It's just like, guys. Personally, I don't have a lot of faith in what the president does for me as an individual. So. And with all the checks and balances in the government, I'm just like, I'm not attaching my entire identity to who the fuck is the president. So I would love to see fucking Oompa Loompa in the office.
What's funny is that people who don't like him as president just don't like him. Because he's actually...
So don't like him.
Right, but my point is like, let's say John Doe conservative Republican was the president. They fucking hate him just as much because he'd be enacting the same policies. Like anybody who's conservative will tell you that Trump is basically...
They may hate him as much, but they may not care because of the fame factor.
Right, well, they would hate the policies though, right? So anyone, when I ask me like, what do you hate?
I don't know that they would hate the policies. I don't think they would know.
They wouldn't, right, well...
I don't think they would care.
Well, like I hear like people, it's funny because like I dislike Trump for reasons that people don't. Like people like oh, he's a racist. I'm like, no, he's not. It's like, oh, he's like no, he's not. It's like,
you gotta meet my friend.
Like he's just not. Like I don't like him because of other like policy shit that I don't like.
Yeah.
But like I hate this bull.
This goes back to what we were talking earlier with the gym stuff.
Yeah.
And like I said, we don't want to make this political. And
we did. Hey.
Well, we'll have to have you back, and I got to make sure my buddy Zach is here for it because I think it's going to be a super fun conversation.
Yeah.
But not only that, but I do want to cut this short because I know you got to go, and we still haven't finished the other piece that I wanted to finish on, which will be shorter than this, I guess.
Yeah.
No, this has been fun. You've been here for like fucking 8 hours.
Yeah. But make breakfast. Oh my god. I think it's time for me to leave. I just said breath kiss.
He's hungry. He's working out for
I'm talking like a toddler.
lifting competition.
Yeah, seriously.
But yeah, man, I think just to wrap up the fame bit, you are totally correct, and I think we're on the same page. Like, the fame piece is a very valuable piece that you can't look at as a vapid endeavor. You can't just look at it as like this Kardashian thing, not segue. Fame equals empty bimbo heads in Hollywood who are doing nothing. Like, that's not pure fame. Like, Neil deGrasse Tyson, famous scientist, astro, whatever the fuck he is. We know him because he's good at what he fucking does.
Brilliant, yeah, he's great. And
He's
he's entertaining. Like,
entertaining. Yeah, these are all different factors that contribute to fame, right? So I think me and you are on the same page of like what our goals are to approach fame, which is like, hey, I want to reach people. Yeah. But I want to reach them organically. I don't want.
Like, there's other guys like Neil deGrasse Tyson. They're just as smart, but they're
if not smarter, and maybe a billion times smarter.
Right, but
they will never connect with human beings. And if you can't connect with human beings, what the fuck is the point?
So why do I give a fuck about them? I'd rather listen to Neil deGrasse Tyson because at least I can learn something because he can talk to me because I'm basically an idiot.
Right. And that's a very key thing that I think is lost on a lot of people, especially elitist types. But we can segue that into the.
I don't say elitist one. I say elitist. Is that an elitist?
I like the word. I like the word elitist because it sounds elite. You know, it sounds elite.
Sounds like what an elitist would say.
I do go back and forth.
I'm an elitist. Dude, I'm good. So do your thing, man.
Yeah, but I don't want to. No.
You're like, I want to go to sleep.
No, I don't. I'm going to be up for.
I'm good, bro.
But yeah. So to segue to our final topic for today.
Yes.
Because we definitely got to do this again, man. This was dope.
For sure, dude. Yeah, absolutely.
The Kardashian thing. I think just my bare bones thoughts on it. You alluded to the fact that like, hey, it's like this empty thing.
Yeah.
But or talentless thing, and I do appreciate that perspective on them, and we'll reiterate, we love you guys. But but I think, and I've had my whole thing. I wanted to go off on this for like an hour on my own on my podcast at some point, which I will do at some point, I'm sure. But I don't think that they're purely talentless because it requires a certain level of metal to take this quote empty whatever, vapid whatever, and turn it into a multi-billion-dollar family kingdom. Like this is not something that just fluke happens. This is not a lottery win. This is something that, and I think the mom of the group, Kris Kardashian, I believe her name is, one of the most badass women maybe in history. We're talking Cleopatra level, in my opinion. Like, you cannot take these quote nobodies who do quote nothing and turn it into a multi-billion-dollar industry out of just pure luck or chance or whatever. Like, this requires a certain amount of tact, certain amount of connection, certain amount of ability to make certain connections, like we were talking about with the fame topic. Like, you need to make the right connections, talk to the right people, and relate to the right things.
Well, when I say things like they're talentless and like, and be like, oh, why are they famous? And people like me who say that, and I'm going to play devil's whatever. I'm going to play.
That's basically what I've been doing.
Yeah, but let's I think part, and it's part of me too, is obviously we look at people like that, we're jealous, right?
Oh, because sure. Yeah, that's definitely a fact.
Because, and the reality is, we all want to be famous for doing absolutely fucking nothing. It's like, so, I think most people, like for me, I feel kind of guilty about it, but I'm saying like that overnight kind of fame. Now, in fairness, like you said, I don't know much about the Kardashians, but from what I've heard,
I don't either.
I've heard that a lot of them. I mean, listen, I'm sure they're philanthropic. Like, here's the part about where I'm like, like, okay, guys, I'm sure they give money to charity. I'm sure, like, and they have these businesses and shit.
I'm sure they're not evil.
Yeah, I don't think everyone who has fame and money is evil. I'm just saying, like, I don't understand why they're famous. Like, they've never entertained me, which I guess that is the thing.
Yeah, and I think I'm so glad you brought that up because I think it goes back to the comedy thing. It's like, I'm sure you've seen comics where you're like, dude, this guy is not funny.
Right.
To me.
Right.
But he's, quote, killing. The crowd is loving it. He's booking shows. He's doing this. And there's a little bit of gaming. There's a little bit of like, what's going on here? Type of suspicious type of thing. But at the end of the day,
Bill Cosby was never funny to me. Like his stand-up, like if I watch like old clips of his stand-up, I was never like, you know, yeah, I mean, I was more of a Richard Pryor kind of guy. Like,
Okay.
But like, you know, but there are people who will literally watch, you know, Bill Cosby, and they'll say that he did.
Or the show Seinfeld, they'll be like, dude, I don't get it. Or, dude, this is the greatest show. We were literally sitting at this table last night with me and my friends at the other podcast episode we recorded. And we had that, literally where you were sitting, that side of the table would be like, I don't think Seinfeld's that funny. And this side of the table like, well, what?
Yeah.
And so you're going to have that kind of thing. And I think the Kardashians are that kind of thing where it's like, you and I can't relate to it because we don't have lips that need things on them or eyebrows that need shit on it, but like they're the ones that are offering that, and they're crushing it. So, and there's a market for it. So, you know,
but you know,
we will never get it. But
my biggest fear though is to like be that old dude, like you know what I'm saying? Like my nephew is he's
the
18.
Bill Burr of us.
Yeah, my nephew's like 18, and you know, he watches these like YouTube videos, and at first I was like, this shit is so fucking hacky and annoying. You know, these like cutaway shots of these kids like doing these like reviewing, and I'm like, I'm hating on this thing. I'm trying to be above it, but this is going to be the future of like
this
comedy.
is
This is like what it is
the
now.
train or getting left behind. Like,
So I started watching. I'm like, okay, some of them suck, but some of them are actually kind of funny, and I started having an open mind about it because I'm like, this is a cool what they're doing. Whether or not what they're doing is funny, I can use that.
Exactly. I was talking about Matt, which I'm sure you know him, man. I'll make sure to be like, that's fucking Matt. But next time I see the two of you together. But we were literally talking about this, I guess, 12 hours ago. About the whole social media thing and understanding how to use it to your advantage. Like, it's easy to look at Instagram comedians and be like, dude, this is fucking shitty.
Right.
But why don't you look at that and be like, this is shitty and it's doing well.
Right.
What do I take from this as a non-shitty comedian, assuming we are non-shitty comedians, or perhaps one day we'll be.
It's a crazy assumption right there.
But just imagine, I hear A-list fucking comedians complaining, like, oh, what are these Instagram comics doing? It's like, dude, maybe fucking open your brain. Maybe open your mind and be like, well, they're doing something shitty and doing well at it. Maybe learn something from what they're doing and apply it to what you do well with comedy, and flourish. Like,
because you're not going to win. Like, you're never going to win that like battle of, oh, okay, I'm just going to keep on doing my thing and let them. No, that's the future. Like, and even if it's not the future, it's happening now. So use that medium, whatever it is. Like their techniques, and make fun of it if you want, but like find a way to reach them, and they're your audience. Like.
Which, surprise, the Kardashians do great in social media.
Do they? Oh,
surprise, like that's...
They must have, what, like 5 followers or something?
Close.
Listen, I'm not trying to brag. I have 500, all right? Listen, don't be jealous.
That's actually a great segue. I think we should just end it there.
Okay.
And I want you to plug your stuff, man.
Yeah, for sure. So you guys can follow me on Instagram. Post a lot of fitness stuff there, some comedy stuff. And feel free to DM me on Instagram about any fitness questions. I'm actually serious about that. I answer questions all day.
Dear Kardashians, if you need a new fitness trainer, this is your guy.
Try not to abuse it too much because my phone just goes off like a motherfucker. But you can follow me it's at Jordan Rosengarten, my full name. Again,
I'll put it in the description, but so definitely verbally put it out there too.
And then my Twitter you can follow. I just started doing Twitter. I tweet jokes so that I can not have a career. Because one tweet and I lose everything. So I'm being very, I post jokes on my Twitter, which is it's at Jordan Rosengart, because I couldn't get the other one. And that's about it. You can follow me on those 2 things. But Instagram is preferred. You'll get a lot more responses on that. And that's what I gotta say. I'm mumbling now.
So, no, I think you did good.
Yeah.
I was super, I had a fantastic fucking time.
That was great, man. It was a great conversation.
Super happy to have you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, man. Come back.
Like I've told everyone else I've had here so far, any comedian that I've met in this New York circuit that I find super funny, I've had on here, or even just super funny and / a good person. I will have dickheads here too that are also funny, but you are luckily of the former. So
I can act like a dickhead. I've held off.
Yeah, but yeah, this was a very fruitful discussion. Super happy you were here, man.
Absolutely.
And we'll plug all his stuff. Thanks for being around, guys, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Later.
Peace.